What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. I am your host, Mistress Carrie. Can you guys hear me? We're having some kind of weird audio thing happening in here, so I want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, there it is. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 313 of Cocktails in the War Room. I'm your host, Mistress Carrie, and welcome to the War Room, where we go every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern to talk about music, to talk about what's going on in the world. Of course, as always, I am joined by Wayne and Garth, the peanut butter and jelly to my bread. For anybody that's new to the War Room, this little furry nugget is Friday, and this is Wednesday. That's where you can find them on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug. So, hello, girls. Friday is all wound up, and I do have to tell you guys what happened to Wednesday last week, because we had a little medical emergency last week. Are you coming up, or are you guys staying down? What are you guys doing? Friday, don't be a little shithead. Don't be a little shithead. Don't do it. Don't choose violence. Don't choose violence. So we had a little medical emergency with Wednesday at the end of last week. If you come in the War Room with me every Tuesday night, you know that last month, Friday got fixed. No, she wasn't broken, but I have always been asked why I don't breed my own pugs. And I just don't. I just want them to be loved, and I don't want them to be a business or a revenue stream. So Friday has finally recovered from her surgery, and I asked the vet last week if they replaced her parts with like lithium batteries, because she is so hyper, right? Can you come here? Can you go in a timeout? Can you just chill? Can we tell them what happened to Wednesday last week? Can we? Yeah. Can we tell them what happened? So I always try to have both dogs on kind of the same like medicine checkup schedule, so I can just bring both pugs to one doctor's appointment, get their physicals, get their vaccines, like whatever. But because Friday's a puppy, I haven't been able to get both dogs on a schedule yet. With my other pugs previously, I was able to do that. So Wednesday was due for her annual exam, and she needed her rabies vaccine and a couple other vaccines. And so I made a separate appointment for her. I need to get her dog license, and I needed her rabies vaccine updated so that I could bring the certificate to get her dog license. So I go in, and I was sitting with the vet, and she was looking her over, and she's like, "Is she healthy?" I'm like, "Yep, she's great. Everything's awesome. Her weight's really good. She's been playing a lot more because there's a puppy in the house, but everything's really good." So she says, "Look, she needs a few vaccines, and I don't like doing them all at the same time, especially on a Friday afternoon." And she's like, "We're not open on the weekend, so if something were to happen, you'd have to rush to the emergency room and whatever." And I was like, "Nope, totally fine. I'll make another appointment in 6 months and get the other vaccines back then. So she just got her rabies and her distemper vaccine. And so everything was good. It was late in the afternoon. I brought her to the vet. She got her vaccines. I got her home. And Friday had stayed home because Mr. C and my bonus son are here. And so the dogs aren't used to being separated. And so Friday was like freaking out because Wednesday had been gone for like an hour, heaven forbid. And so they started running around. And then Friday started going after Wednesday, and Wednesday was trying to run away from her. And then she started trying to itch her face. Like Wednesday was sticking her face in the couch cushions, and then her face like started to get puffy and red. And so I was wondering if like Friday had like bitten her. And Wednesday just would not stop, like forcibly rubbing her face into the sofa cushions. And you could see her face was swelling up, and all of the skin under her little pug wrinkles was turning like red, and she was starting to look like a pumpkin. I was like, oh my God. So I took a cold face cloth and I put it on her face to try and stop the itching. And you could tell that it was giving her a little bit of relief, but not enough. So I threw her back in the car and I go racing back to the vet. I'm on my way there. I call them. I'm like, please don't leave. We're on our way back. She's having some kind of allergic reaction. And so they were like, how many minutes away are you? And she had just had a physical. She was totally fine. So they meet me at the door. They grab her. They run her out back. They put her in like the cooling little oxygen tent thing. And they give her some steroids and some Benadryl. And sure enough, she was having an allergic reaction. She's never had an allergic reaction to anything before. But I guess they were using a different like distemper vaccine than what they normally used. And she had an allergic reaction to it. And so I was there for like a half hour. They took amazing care of her. She was totally fine. But when I tell you that all of the pug wrinkles in Wednesday's face were gone and she looked like a pumpkin head, it was so scary and so crazy. The vet was so wonderful. All the vet techs were great. So over the weekend, they kept her on some steroids and some Benadryl just to make sure she was okay. And then the vet called me yesterday. The vet called me today just to double check and make sure everything was okay. And she's totally fine, but it was very strange. And it was very scary. And, but she's fine now. And now she's unconscious over here. Both dogs are, yes, I'm talking about you, Wednesday. Now Friday's unconscious on my lap. Wednesday's got her chin over there on the corner of the couch. So needless to say, everything was fine. But on a Friday afternoon, that was not what I was expecting. It was really, really scary. Carol says, I had a traveling vet. She came to my house for 12 years. I've heard that they're wonderful. They have them a lot in the city, like traveling vets and whatever that go to people's apartments and stuff. And yeah, it was really scary, but she's okay. She just had a reaction. It wasn't the rabies vaccine. I mean, it wasn't the rabies vaccine because it's the same one she had before. But the only thing that was different was the distemper vaccine. It was so scary. I have a special car crate for the pugs that's in my car. And she was back there whining while I was driving. And of course, I got stuck in a funeral procession while I was trying to get to the vet. I was freaking out. So this weekend, I just kept an extra special eye on her. And by Friday night, she was totally fine. But, at first we were wondering if like Friday like nipped at her and like irritated her skin. But she just started to swell. And it was like, oh, it was so sad. I've never seen a pug face look like that. She was so swollen. But as soon as they gave her the steroids and the Benadryl, just like that, it went down. Extra cookies, says Bish. Exactly. Yeah, Jessica, she's fine. Wednesday, do you want to come say hi to everyone? Come here. Come here and say hi to everyone. Come here. Come here. Come say hi to everyone so that everybody can see that you're fine. I just told him the scary vet story from Friday, but you're okay, right? Right? Yeah, you're fine. She's fine. So that's the pug story I wanted to tell you guys first off. So if you're new to the War Room, welcome. We talk a lot about pugs. We have a special pug cam just for the dogs. We do this every Tuesday night. This is the War Room in my house where all of my military memorabilia is, all my family's military memorabilia, and the stuff that I brought back from my trips overseas, not my military memorabilia. But it's also where the bar is. So that's why we started hanging out here 5 years ago on March 14th of 2020, which just doesn't seem real. There is a lot going on with tours and bands that we have to talk about. There were a ton of announcements today. What's up, Alicia Marie? She says, hello, Carrie and War Room friends. Carol and Ash are here. Will, Bish, Donna, Carol, Guitar Fiend on Instagram joining us right now. If you're on Instagram, your handle shows up, not your profile name. So that's how, that's the only thing I can see. John and Jason, Jeremy Taft on Instagram. I've been in the War Room. So cool. Great pictures and memories in there. Yes, Jeremy, you know We've had some knockdown, drag out, throwdowns in here before, and it's a really good place to drink some good booze and hang out with good friends. So that's why I like hanging out with you guys every Tuesday. Melissa says, Pearl cut her toe on her left front paw somewhere in the yard, needed to be sedated with stitches, came home in a cone of shame. It is the worst thing in the world, like sitting there at the vet, like totally helpless, and your dog is just like looking at you like, why is this happening to me? I don't understand what's going on. It was just brutal. Keith's like, damn, 5 years. You have been blessed with me for 5 years. Oh, yes, Keith, we have been blessed with you for 5 years. Check out the U.S. Mint getting ready to release the 250th anniversary USMC proof silver dollar. Oh, I need to see that, Mr. Cole, for sure. I got to get one of those for Mr. C for sure. Let's see. Marcy says, hi, MC, Wednesday and Friday. They're both up here now. Friday's cleaning Wednesday. They always do cute stuff on the side that I don't put the camera because that's just how it is. So that was our big pug scare for Friday. Like I said, my son and my husband are here. For anybody that's new to the war room, my husband's still active duty military, so he's stationed down south, and so that's where he and the kids are, and so I got them for the week, so they're up here. So over the weekend, we went down to Plymouth because they've never been down there before, and so we went and saw the Pebble and went out on the rock jetty. I have a friend that has a restaurant down in Plymouth on Water Street called the Blue Eyed Crab. My friend Jim that I went to college with. It's like a Caribbean seafood restaurant. And it was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. He and I went to school together. He was in the culinary program. I was in the radio program. And look at us using our degrees. But he makes these banana garlic wings that actually Guy Fieri loved on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And so we went and had lunch there, walked around Plymouth. It was beautiful on Saturday. And so we just went and did that and kind of hung around all weekend, made sure that Wednesday was okay, which she is. And we've just been kind of spending some quality time doing some stuff around the yard. I got some trees. So tomorrow we are going to plant some trees in the yard because I want to kind of commemorate this year and everything that's happened and put some trees in the yard. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Donna says, happy belated National No Pants Day. I was talking about it on the air. Was I wearing pants on the air that day? I'm not telling. So we did that. We just went to Plymouth and stuff. And then obviously on Sunday night, dun, da, 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 my husband's Christmas gift, AC/DC is his favorite band. He's never seen them. And I'm pretty confident that this is going to be the last go around for AC/DC. Whether or not they announce another leg of the North American tour, it's totally possible. But I wanted to make sure, I promised him years ago when we were dating that whenever AC/DC announced a concert that we were going to go. And so I got tickets for Christmas for him. That was his big Christmas gift. And we went. I know Bish was there. I know there were a bunch of people that were at Foxborough at Gillette watching AC/DC. Everybody's been messaging me, how was it? The show looked great. The Pretty Reckless did a great job. The weather was off and on. It rained for 20 minutes, then it was dry for 20 minutes, then it rained, then it was dry. I was amazed at how energetic Angus Young is at 70 years old, still running around the stage, still playing. Did he hit every note during every intro to every song? No. Were there some flub notes? Yes. Did Brian Johnson hit every note in every song? No. But I had to look it up. Brian Johnson's 77 years old. And I've seen AC/DC so many times over the years. And obviously Malcolm's not there. Phil Rudd's not in the band. Like Cliff Williams isn't playing with the band. So and obviously Bon Scott's not with the band. But the idea of being able to see Angus like one more time and to be able to see the band up on stage and Brian Johnson sing those songs after going through all of his hearing loss and using all the modern technology to be able to perform again. I just really wanted to go and see them one more time. They played 22 songs. Angus did like a 10-minute guitar solo. There were thousands of people wearing blinking devil horns in the crowd. Gillette was packed. And, it really kind of made me, a little sentimental, because it's impossible for you to have grown up in the last 50 years and have AC/DC not be part of a memory. Even if you don't like rock music, they get played at every sporting event. They've been played at every Patriots game since Gillette was built and before. They play AC/DC at the Red Sox games at Fenway. They play AC/DC at the Garden for the Celtics and the Bruins. And they have influenced so many artists. I mean, I can't even count the number of artists that have talked about AC/DC, and especially Back in Black, as being this formative, inspirational album that made them want to pick up a guitar, that made them want to play the drums, that made them want to be in a rock band. And the idea, like Kiss, like, AC/DC, like the Rolling Stones, or so many of these other bands that we have been spoiled to have around for so long, the idea that there's going to come a time in the not so distant future, and I don't know when that's going to be, that AC/DC is just not going to tour anymore. I don't see them making a big announcement. I could see them maybe playing a final show at home in Australia, but I can't see them doing the Victory Lap tour like Kiss did, where they're like, or like Motley Crue, where we're retiring. Oh, wait, no, we're not. I can just see AC/DC finishing this tour and going, okay, we'll see what happens, and just not touring again. But I really just wanted to go and see them one more time. My husband loved it. We had so much fun. I saw a bunch of people that I knew were going to be there. I bumped into Pat Badger in line at the concession stand from Extreme, and we were talking because there were no free tickets. It didn't matter who you were. There were no free tickets to AC/DC. So Pat and I were laughing because we bought our tickets to go see AC/DC. And he was like, when's the last time you bought tickets to a show? And I was like, I don't know, but probably not as long as you. And he was like, yeah, but I couldn't pass up going to see AC/DC here at Gillette again. He's like, I couldn't miss the show. I had to be here. So I thought they were really good. They didn't play big balls. The set list is up online. They played Whole Lotta Rosie. They played Riff Raff. They played Runaway Train. They played Shook Me All Night Long, For Those About to Rock, TNT, Hell's Bells, Highway to Hell, Back in Black. I mean, they played all the stuff that you wanted to see. The Cannons at the end. They lit off fireworks at the end of the show. And to see Taylor Momsen up on that giant AC/DC stage. The Pretty Reckless members are from New England, and Taylor spends a lot of her time in Maine songwriting. She has a cabin in the woods in Maine, and so she spends a lot of time in Maine, and she even said, she's like, I'm from all over, but I consider myself a New Englander, and so that show was really special for them. So Bish says, I bought the day of Lower Bowl Section 106 for a little over $170. The tickets were really expensive, and the tickets that they released kind of at the last minute, people got like $170, not too shabby of a ticket price considering how expensive. The tickets that were in the pit that were right up front, they were really expensive, $500 and up to get really, really close. Jen says, we took my three sons, 12, 16, and 18. My husband is a huge fan and wanted the boys to see them before they stopped touring. I think there were a lot of people. I saw a lot of people with their kids. And it was one of those things where it was like, guys, I want you to be able to say that you saw AC/DC. I want you to be able to say that you saw them do it live, because it is one of those things that, we're getting to the point where a lot of these legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Fame bands, these groundbreaking first of their generation bands, are going to stop touring. We've talked about it so many times here in the War Room. The rock and roll legends that we are going to lose in the next 5 years, we are not prepared for. Growing up as such a huge Beatles fan, I can't imagine the world without living Beatles in it. And That's going to happen at some point. I don't know when. I'm hoping it doesn't, but we all know it's going to. And so the idea of having the opportunity to see some of these bands, like if you've never seen the Stones and they tour, like how many more tours do you think they're going to do? Seeing AC/DC tour. I mean, even younger bands, you know, by comparison, like a Metallica, who's only been a band for 40 years, or Guns N' Roses, or bands like that, like Poison celebrating their 40th anniversary next year. You know, if you never saw Motley Crue, if you never, like, there's so many of these bands that are going to stop. I mean, if you never saw Kiss with the makeup on, you're not going to see that, even though they're doing that thing in Vegas for the Kiss Army. They're not wearing the makeup. They're not wearing the costumes. They're not doing all of that stuff. So, I think the moral of the story is if you get the chance to see them, go. And don't, like, I was sitting there going, this is not the AC/DC of the 80s or the 90s that I remember. This is 70, like in their 70s AC/DC. But I got to tell you, Brian Johnson is 77 years old. And that guy looked like he was 16 and you just bought him a Corvette for his first car. He was so happy and having so much fun. And you could tell from the crowd that he's just so grateful to have this opportunity to be up there in front of the fans again, because when he had all of his hearing problems and Axl Rose had to take over singing for AC/DC, I can't imagine what that depression was like for Brian Johnson, thinking that he was never going to get back up on stage again. And even though he's not the original vocalist of AC/DC, Back in Black and Beyond, some of their biggest songs, some of their biggest albums were Brian Johnson. And so he is such a huge part of the legacy of the band. I mean, when they got inducted into the Rock Hall, they inducted both singers because they needed to both be in there. Walter, answer the text. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. You guys are asking me questions. Denise says, it was my first time seeing them and it was great. The energy of Brian and Angus was amazing. Love seeing Godsmack open for the Crew many years ago at the Xfinity Center. Godsmack should have been the headliner. So that is, I think, where Sully and Nikki Sixx's war of words happened, was on that tour, because I think Crying Like a Bitch is about Nikki Sixx, if I'm not mistaken. I think Godsmack wrote that song about Nikki Sixx. So yeah, that's what we're talking about on Instagram. That's what we're talking about is AC/DC on Sunday. Hold on. Friday dropped her bone. Here you go. Come over here. Do you want this? There you go. Will says, couldn't make it, but I did get a shirt. Wanted to go. So sad. Unfortunately, 5:30 a.m. came very quick. I pulled the all-nighter, and every radio mistake I made on the air on Monday, #blame Angus, because I was like seeing double by the time I got off the radio on Monday. I was exhausted. Bish says, I teared up at the end. I know it's the end. And it was like, that's the way to go out. Yeah, they were fantastic. Yeah, you guys are talking about Ozzy and Black Sabbath and how they're calling it quits this summer. Geezer Butler said in an interview recently that he's been having nightmares and heart palpitations because he wants to make sure that the final show that Black Sabbath plays together in their hometown, in the stadium of his favorite soccer team, the first Sabbath show with all 4 original members in 20 years, that he says this is what people are going to remember, and it has to be great the day of. But yeah, we're going to live in a world where Ozzy is not going to play live anymore. We're going to live in a world where Black Sabbath is never going to play live again. So, yeah, it sucks. Guitar Fiend said, took my son to see Pantera and Lamb of God. He has autism, but he loves going to shows. Next up is Primus, A Perfect Circle, and Pussifer in 2 weeks. Oh, you're going up to the SNHU Arena? That's the Santa Tour is really cool because the bands all go up on stage together. So it's not like one band plays, then the next band plays, then the next band plays. It's like one band plays a couple songs, then guys come up, and then the other band plays a couple songs. And so like they're constantly switching out. It's more like a no bozos jam than anything, which is really cool. Kaylin says, I was in section 103. I paid $199 and that included the service fee. I saw AC/DC at Gillette 10 years ago as well. Heidi says, hello, War Room and family. MC Wednesday, Friday. Mr. C, looks like you had a blast at AC/DC. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, we did. We had a great time. It was awesome. And we actually got out of the parking lot fairly quickly, considering, which I couldn't believe. These guys stopped us that came up from New Jersey. And as we were walking into the stadium, they stopped us because we parked across Route 1 in the free parking. And these guys stopped and they go, hey, where do we pay for the parking? And I was like, where did you guys park? And they were like, over there. And I said, no, the parking is free. And they were like, are you fucking kidding? The parking's free. And I was like, yeah, you can pay to park across the street and get out really quickly, or you can be cheap like me and not pay to park on this side and get stuck in the parking lot for hours. So yes, you can come to the show and park for free, but you're probably going to get stuck for a while. And they were like, I still can't believe we're parking for free. They thought we were like screwing with them, like we were trying to get like their car towed, because they didn't believe us, that they were like, really, we can park at the stadium for free? And we're like, yeah, you're going to park for free. And then after the show, you're going to sit here for a couple hours. So bring some beers with you. Denise says, my boyfriend Chris took his son Logan. It was his second concert and it was an amazing experience to see him watch them. Even though it was my first time, it was amazing. I hear a phone dinging. There's no phone dinging over here. Bish said, I loved every minute of it. I knew it was going to be, I knew it wasn't going to be like the early 2000s, what I grew up on, but I had a blast. That's the thing, is that it was such a wave of memories, right? That like those songs are so iconic that they're tied. I mean, that's the beauty of music. That's why we love the music we love forever, because it's tied to memories. I think it was Clint Lowry from Seven Dust told me the story about seeing the guy pull up to the bus stop in his Trans Am with his feathered hair blaring Back in Black. And he's like, that made me want to play guitar, was hearing Back in Black blaring out of the cool kid sports car when I was standing at the bus stop. So yeah, Jessica, no news on Godsmack, so I don't know anything about that. Hold on, let me show you guys what's going on over here. It's all right, Wednesday. Go ahead, keep chewing your bone. No, Friday's going to steal it from you, right? Are you guys okay? Yeah, see, Friday's going to steal the bone now, because that's what she does. It's okay. Show everybody that your wrinkles are all back, that your face is fine. Guys, when I tell you, like, she was the color in here of these pillows. Like, it was so freaking scary. It was awful. All right. So, want to remind you guys about the different places you guys can listen to me on the radio. You can hear me every weekday from 10 to 3 on 98 Rock, Charleston's best rock in Charleston, South Carolina. You can download the 98 Rock app or stream the station at my98rock.com. You can hear me every weekday afternoon on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester, Massachusetts. You can download the Pike app and stream the station at pikefm.com. And some events that we've got coming up. We have got Grunge Fest on down here on July 13th. The annual Hair Fest is coming up, and the summer kickoff with Tesla is happening June 1st. And this week, I'm giving away tickets to see Dirty Deeds, the AC/DC experience at Indian Ranch on May 31st. And what's really funny is when I got into my seats at Gillette for AC/DC on Sunday, I look over and the guy sitting next to me is the lead singer of Dirty Deeds, who I met at a hair fest a couple years ago. And I said to him, I'm like, you got a night off from singing AC/DC every night and you're coming to see AC/DC. And he was like, I'm not going to miss what could be my last chance to see them. Brian Johnson's an inspiration. P.S. The lead singer of Dirty Deeds is 75 and Brian Johnson's 77. But he was there the whole show, had an absolute blast. He was like, these guys are my inspiration. I love them. But it was just really funny. And so this week I'm giving away tickets to see Dirty Deeds at Indian Ranch coming up May 31st. You can also hear me on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. You can download the free Bone app or stream the station at 1063thebone.com. And let me tell you, this show came early yesterday morning. Mornings with Mistress Carrie, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. on Laser 99.3 and 98.5 in Springfield, Massachusetts. You can download the free Laser app and stream the station at laser993.com. I was tired yesterday. Oh, was I tired by the time I got home. Rachel says, wait, what happened to the puppers? Rachel, you missed the story earlier. Wednesday had an allergic reaction to a vaccine she got on Friday and gave us a little scare. She went on some Benadryl and some steroids and she's fine, but she had a little bit of an allergic reaction and it was so scary. All right. I do have some events. They're not confirmed to the point where I can put them on your calendar yet, but I will tell you that I am going to be out and about a bunch this summer in Springfield, in Portland, around Worcester. So keep your eyes on the concert and event calendar at mistresscarrie.com. But one I definitely 100% know is happening in downtown Leominster, Massachusetts. In September is the annual Johnny Appleseed Festival. There's going to be a big Mistress Carrie booth set up for that. Because it is my hometown after all. So you can put that on your calendar. All the details on the Johnny Appleseed Festival are up on the concert calendar. Recapping last week's podcasts, which is episode 256, not 255. Sometimes these typos, like I don't understand why the changes don't save. And it drives me absolutely crazy. Friday, did you just drop your bone again? If I give her a bone to chew, she behaves a lot better. It's when she doesn't have anything to chew and she starts looking for something to chew that she gets herself in trouble. So episode 256 of the Mistress Carrie podcast last week featured Johnny Three Tears from Hollywood Undead, who this week are going to be at the Strand in Providence. And they're also going to be at the College Street Music Hall in New Haven this week with Tech Nine. Those shows are on the calendar. But Johnny Three Tears from Hollywood Undead was like, look, I'm backstage at a show. It's in the middle of the afternoon. I don't go on stage till 9. I'm bored. Keep me company. And I was like, okay. So we hung out for a while. And that was last week's episode of the podcast. We talked literally about everything. We went down the nerd rabbit hole talking about the Lord of the Rings. We talked about music. We talked about drugs. We talked about songwriting. We talked about what it was like to grow up in LA, literally on the other side of the fence from Forest Lawn Cemetery. So we talked a lot about that because I don't know if you guys have ever gone to like LA and Hollywood and gone to all of those cemeteries. But when I go to LA and to Hollywood, I always try to go to like Forest Lawn and Hollywood Forever and to go and see like all of the iconic film actors and musicians. The last time I was out there, it was right after Chris Cornell had passed away and I wanted to go and see Chris Cornell's grave. And I saw Judy Garland's grave and Mel Blanc, the famous cartoon voice actor, and Lemmy from Motorhead and Ronnie James Dio. There's just so many amazing artists, musicians, actors that you can go and visit their graves, which are really personalized and just really cool. Ronnie James Dio's grave is just super cool. So I just always do that. And finding out Johnny Three Tears lived on the other side of the wall from the cemetery was pretty cool. I guess Carrie Fisher's grave is like right around the corner from Dio and Lemmy's grave. And it's like really big, but I didn't see that one the last time I was out there. So I'm going to go out there and the next time I go out there and go and see that. Are you being a good girl? Are you guys both being good? Hold on. We need the camera on you guys because you're both being good. What are you doing? Are you being good? Did you take a Xanax? Did you? Are you going to behave? Are you being good Wednesday? Yeah, you guys are being very good. Yes, Jessica, I'm drinking for the typo. Well, Wednesday just stares at me. All right, so I want to let you guys know who is on the podcast this week. So if you've been listening to rock radio in the last year, this band is everywhere. Cody Quistad from Wage War is my guest on episode 257 of the podcast. They've already got one number one single with Magnetic. Blur, their next single, is now top 5. They are opening up for Stained and Breaking Benjamin on the Awaken the Fallen tour. Then they're going out on the road with Volbeat. They're going out on the road with 3 Days Grace. They're touring the world. Depending on what part of the world you're going to see them at, that is going to determine who they're touring with. But Wage War is literally everywhere. And if you listen to the Lee Kakati episode recently from Pop Evil, Cody Quistad is also the person who produced the latest Pop Evil album and helped to co-write 2 of the songs that are on the record. So Lee Kakati talked about working with him as well. So I had to ask Cody what it was like to work with Lee Kakati. So that's in there. This is another band that's now based out of Nashville because that's where Cody lives as well. So we talked about Nashville. He gave some really good suggestions on bars and places to go to eat in Nashville because he's been there for quite a while. So if you're making a Nashville trip, he's got some good suggestions on this episode. And just kind of what the last 12 months have been like for these guys. He's like, it's funny because people think we're an overnight success, but this is our 5th album. Like, we've been around for a while. It's just that all of a sudden the songs have started to catch on the radio. He said you can definitely see the difference because we just played with Papa Roach, and you can see the difference when we play Magnetic and Blur because those are the songs that people are hearing on the radio, and you can just feel the crowd's energy pick up because they know the songs. So this goes live at midnight tonight, episode 257 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, featuring Cody Quistad from Wage War. When you subscribe to the podcast, you get the weekly full-length episodes every Wednesday, and then every Monday through Friday, you get the sit rep, which is 5, 6, 7 minutes long, breaking down entertainment news, video games, streaming, album releases, concerts that get announced, bands breaking up, movie news. Just if it's entertainment, especially if it's rock related, you're going to hear it on the sit rep. And you can also hear mini sit reps on the air on Laser 99.3 and 98.5 in Springfield and on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine all day. It is literally everywhere. Your favorite podcast app, search for the Mistress Carrie podcast, part of the Pantheon Podcast Network. You can listen to the episodes on YouTube, on the Mistress Carrie YouTube channel, or you can easily just go to mistresscarrie.com, find the episode you want to listen to, and just click play. That's how easy it is. 149 countries holding strong, listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast. So we got to thank everybody that has been sharing the episodes, commenting in the episodes, downloading the episodes, subscribing to the podcast, because you have helped to spread it like herpes around the world. So I appreciate that. Celebrating a birthday today, Chris Shiflett from the Foo Fighters, Mark Bryan from Hootie and the Blowfish, and Mr. Bob Seger. So if today's your birthday, happy birthday. Happy unbirthday, Keith. Jessica says May 18th is going to be 8 years since we lost Chris Cornell, which doesn't make sense. Friday's Cleaning Wednesday, by the way, over here. It doesn't make sense that it's been that long. I remember getting the news that Chris Cornell died like it was yesterday, and we were just like, wait, what do you mean Chris Cornell died? Like, what do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean? So the fact that it's been 8 years is kind of insane. Music headlines, we got a lot to talk about. First of all, on Friday, Steven Tyler and the surviving members of Soundgarden got added to the ever-growing lineup of the Back to the Beginning Ozzy and Black Sabbath show in Birmingham, England, coming up on July 5th. Insane. Steven Tyler is going to go up there and sing. What is he going to sing? I have no idea. Who is he going to sing with? I have no clue. But he got added to the show, and so did the surviving members of Soundgarden. The new Mammoth WVH song, The End, came out. I put the video up on my Facebook page. If you haven't checked it out yet, directed by Robert Rodriguez, featuring cameo appearances from Slash, Miles Kennedy, even Wolfgang's mom, Valerie Bertinelli, is in the video. And he came out today and released video of him in the recording studio recording guitar parts for that song. And this song features his dad's famous Frankenstein guitar. And so you can check out on his Instagram video of him playing the tapping part on his dad's famous Frankenstein guitar. Speaking of Aerosmith, Joe Perry made the announcement today that he is doing shows. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it, with the Joe Perry Project. Brad Whitford and Buck Johnson from Aerosmith. Chris Robinson from the Black Crowes is going to be singing. Robert DeLeo and Eric Kretz from the Stone Temple Pilots are going to be the rhythm section. Right now, they are doing 8 shows, and 3 of them are in New England. They're playing the Wang. They're playing Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. They're playing the Premier Theater at Foxwoods. All of the tickets go on sale this Friday. All 3 of those New England shows are on the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com with the link to get tickets. But that is a hell of a band. Like, the fact that Brad Whitford, who I thought was one of the guys in Aerosmith pushing to not tour anymore, and now he's like, yeah, let's go out with the Joe Perry Project. Fuck it, let's do it. So that got announced today. Hell Hath No Fury. This tour got announced today within this moment. Kat Von D is on this tour. It's all female fronted metal bands. This is August 14th at the Palladium in Worcester. Those tickets go on sale this Friday. And Mudvayne and Static X announced they are going out on the road to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Mudvayne's LD50 and the 25th anniversary of Wisconsin Death Trip from Static X. They have got 2 shows in New England, the MGM Music Hall at Fenway on October 26th and the Mohegan Sun Arena on MGM October 25th, Mohegan October 26th. Those tickets go on sale this Friday as well. So just a crazy amount of shows that got announced, and they all go on sale this Friday. Joshua says that Wolfgang Van Halen's song is sick. Janine says hearing Chris Cornell was gone was a huge shock. Danae says there is a great podcast about both being suspicious. Yeah. Oh, about Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell. Yeah, there are always going to be those podcasts and stuff. And Vicky Cornell has been going after the doctor because of Chris's substance abuse issues and his famous battle with depression. She was really upset that the doctor prescribed the medications, knowing that he suffered from depression and that one of the side effects of the medication he was on was suicide ideations and depression. Why would you give that to somebody that's battling depression? So Bish says, I'm going to make this bigger. Clip that. Jessica says, I didn't know Joe Perry was still playing. Yeah, the only reason Aerosmith's not still touring is because Steven Tyler hurt his vocal cords. And I think Steven Tyler can still sing. I don't think he can do 2.5-hour Aerosmith shows 4 days a week, but I think he can go up and sing a few songs and sound fine. I just don't think he has the longevity to be able to tour as Aerosmith anymore, which is why the band can't tour. But yeah, Joe Perry's still playing 100%. Jamie says, hey, from Virginia. What's going on, Jamie? Bish says, Kat Von D, the tattoo artist, sings metal. Where have I been? It's kind of like goth electronic metal. But yeah, if you Google Kat Von D, you'll find her music. It's very kind of dark, ethereal, kind of electronic, like goth metal. But yeah, she's been recording music for quite some time now. Michael Cole says she's removed most, if not all, of her tats. She didn't remove them. She did what Chris Daughtry did, and she blacked them all out. But she didn't get them removed. She just covered them all up. That was Friday's bone again. Hold, please. There you go. Chew your bone. And she became very religious, says Joshua. Yeah, she became religious as well. So those are like the big announcements that came out in music. If you haven't seen the Mammoth WVH video, I put it up on on my Facebook page. And then all of these shows that we were just talking about are on the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com with the links to buy tickets. Speaking of shows, counting down the days for Shinedown, Bush, and Morgan Wade on July 19th at the Garden, Lincoln Park. Go Stevie Nicks. Nine Inch Nails, Eric Clapton, Bryan Adams. That show went on sale last Friday with Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. DCU Center's got the Silver Scream Con coming up in September. And Sleep Token, that new album comes out on Friday. Sleep Token sold out the Even in Arcadia tour in a matter of minutes. I can't believe they didn't add second shows, but that's going to be a huge, huge show. Big Night Live has got Everclear, Local H, and Sponge celebrating 30 years of the Sparkle and Fade. The Xfinity Center has got Simple Minds, Styx, Rod Stewart and Cheap Trick, The Offspring with Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory, and Volbeat, Hailstorm, and the Ghost Inside. The Doobie Brothers, Billy Idol with Joan Jett, still reeling from the idea that Billy Idol's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace in September, and of course Papa Roach and Rise Against and Under Oath in September as well. Alice Cooper got nominated for the Radio Hall of Fame class of 2025. He released a statement on social media saying that he was honored to be nominated. He's going to be at Mohegan later this month. Post Malone and Jelly Roll at Gillette at the end of the month. Clutch is going to be at the Lynn Auditorium. Sleep Theory at the Sinclair, and they're also going to be at the State Theater in Portland, Maine. We're giving away tickets for that show in Portland at 1063thebone.com. Baby Metal at Mohegan, Weird Al at the Wang and Foxwoods, Incubus at Mohegan, Def Leppard at Mohegan, Coldplay at Gillette. David Lee Roth, who announced he was retiring from touring, just announced he is not retired from touring. He's going to be at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom on August 13th. George Thorogood is going to be at the Lynn Auditorium. And Bryan Adams, if you don't go see him at the Garden, you can see him at Mohegan Sun. And on the Pike, we are qualifying people to win a trip for two to go see Bryan Adams wherever you want to go see him. Leader Bank Pavilion, if you're into the Yacht Rock, Toto, Christopher Cross, Men at Work in July. The Goo Goo Dolls and Chicago are both going to be there later this summer. Let's see. The Red Sox are down 6-1. Oof, brutal. Melissa says, stop talking about shows in September. You are ruining our spring. Look, I want you guys to know these shows are coming because so many of these shows have been selling out so quickly that I want you guys to know that these shows are happening. That's number one. Number two, I've told you guys 1,000 times that I think concert tickets make a great gift. Mother's Day's coming up this weekend. Father's Day's next month. People have birthdays all summer long. Buy people concert tickets. Like I bought my husband AC/DC tickets for Christmas. We just went over the weekend. It was awesome. We should have worn Christmas hats because it was his Christmas present. The Palladium has got Memphis Mayfire also in this moment that we already talked about, and Mushroom Head, and the New England Hardcore and Metal Festival is back for 1 day only at the Palladium outdoors. Again, up on the concert and events calendar. Roadrunner has got Ministry coming up next week, Jet at the end of the month, Dinosaur Jr., and Garbage. You girls are being so very good. Yes, you are. You're being so good. The MGM Music Hall has got Devo this week, Trivium, and Bullet for My Valentine. Oh, that's a typo. That happened last weekend. Sorry about that. Queens of the Stone Age, Pixies, Alabama Shakes, The Black Keys, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and Static X. We talked about that goes on sale this Friday. Also, House of Blues has got Marilyn Manson at the end of this week, Less Than Jake next month, Architects in August, and Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden on September 11th. The Paradise has got Melvins and Napalm Death coming up on Thursday, and Billy Corgan and the Machines of God next month as well. I can't believe Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins is playing the Paradise, which is crazy. City Winery has got Billy Sherwood of Yes and Friends on May 19th. and the Session 2-day Irish Festival and Music Festival that's happening at the stage at Suffolk Downs. It's a 2-day festival headlined by the Dropkick Murphys and the Pogues, which is just a massive lineup. New releases out this Friday. Arcade Fire, Behemoth, the Butthole Surfers, Counting Crows, Eric Clapton releasing the enhanced edition of his MTV Unplugged In Excess, celebrating the Listen Like Thieves 40th anniversary. Peter Murphy releasing Silver Shade, Pierce the Veil, also Sleep Token, Even in Arcadia, and Tetrak coming out with The Ugly Side of Me. Those are all coming out this Friday, so lots of great music is coming out this summer. It seems like every week there is just a massive album coming out. Congratulations to Ghost, by the way. They are the first hard rock and metal act in 4 years to debut at number 1 on the Billboard Top 200. I'm telling you, Sleep Token is going to debut at number 1 next week. This album is going to be massive. They're releasing it on collectible vinyl. They're just releasing all of this extra stuff. But Sleep Token comes out this Friday. Mail call, nothing in the mail this week. That's the address if you need it. With Mother's Day coming up on Sunday, I want to let you guys know about a last-minute Mother's Day sale. 20% off everything in the online store at mistresscarrie.com. Just use the code MOM2025 at checkout. But there have been years past where I've just put the ladies' t-shirts or tank tops up for sale for Mother's Day. But what if mom wants a coffee mug? What if mom wants a hoodie? What if mom wants something? So the entire mistresscarrie.com shop is 20% off as of now through Mother's Day if you've got a cool mom that needs to get hooked up with something awesome. This is the first Mother's Day without my mom. She passed away right before the holidays. So we kind of were forced to have the first Christmas and New Year's without her. But this is the first Mother's Day without my mom. So, there are a lot of people that Mother's Day is really sad for them because their mom is not around. And so now I understand what that's like. So we're going to do some gardening this weekend. The weather's supposed to be beautiful. We're going to really make my mom's headstone landscaping look really beautiful this weekend. And we're also going to be planting some stuff around the yard to kind of just kind of commemorate this year as well. So we're going to be doing that. Will says, great job, MC. That was a lot of info. There's so many shows coming. I'm telling you, there's so much going on. It's all up at mistresscarrie.com. You can listen to the sit reps every day to keep you up to date with everything. But the concert calendar has literally got all of the shows in New England. Do you need more cookies? Carol, the answer no will never come out of my mouth. You can send me cookies. I could be buried in the war room up to here in your cookies. And you could say, do you need more cookies? And I'm going to go like this, even if I can't talk because I'm buried in cookies. Melissa says the year of firsts. Yeah, it sucks, Melissa. You know what it's like. It sucks. Betty says, going to replace my coffee mug. Jessica says, my mom has been gone for 24 years. I just can't imagine this being the first year. Just being out in the yard as spring has sprung, right? And all of the things kind of sprout up out of the ground. My mom planted so much of that stuff in the yard that it's hard not to kind of see and feel her everywhere around my yard because all of a sudden, all of these flowers start popping up in places I didn't even know there were flowers. And it's because she planted them. Up until just a few years ago, even when she was sick, and we had aides with her while she was still living at home, I would give the aides money and they would go and buy flowers and bulbs with my mom and they would spend the afternoon planting flowers in the yard. And so there's still stuff coming up that I didn't even know was there. Carol says, my mom's been gone 22 years. Rachel says, I would love cookies, Carol. She should sell her cookies. Oh, Carol should totally sell her cookies. They're delicious. Jonathan says, my mom is in her 70s and I live with her and help her. Jonathan, that's not easy. I did it. It's not easy, but I can tell you that you're going to be really glad in the future looking back that you did that. Marcy says, my mom's been gone 27. Heidi says, my mom has been gone 13 years. And it's been tearful. Exactly. Lisa says, same with my mom. Eric says, my mom passed in 2019 of cancer, and I'm thankful she didn't have to go through the pandemic. Louise says, think of the flowers blooming as your mom being there with you. Well, that's the thing, is that being in the yard, you see all of this stuff growing and you know that she planted it. So what I did was I have begun with the perennials, with the things that you can propagate. Hostas, like different flowers, stuff like that mom planted that grow back every year. I've been cutting pieces off, and that's what's getting planted around her headstone. So the flowers that will be around her headstone at the cemetery are all going to be flowers she planted herself. And so it was just really important to my sister and I that there be like growth and beauty around her headstone during all of the seasons from early spring through the fall. And we wanted it to be all stuff that she planted herself. So, I'm hoping that everything that we've been planting takes. We've gotten a lot of rain, so it looks like everything is growing, which is really good. Bish says, my mom is 72 and bless she's still here. You absolutely are, and take advantage of it. One thing I will tell you guys, and everybody that's lost their mom, I think will agree with me, especially because my mom suffered from memory loss. If your parents or grandparents are still with us, it seems awkward. But especially now that you have got cameras on your phones, when you spend time with them, videotape them telling stories about the family history, about you as a kid, about how they met your mom or dad, about what it was like for them growing up. Like literally document their stories, because my sister and I, by the time we found out my mom was sick, she had already started losing her memory. And so we were scrambling to kind of get so many family mysteries solved while my mom still had that knowledge. You've got a camera, and it may be weird and be like, look, I want to videotape you telling these stories. Maybe your kids are really small and they're not going to remember when they're older. And so you'd be like, look, I want to videotape this for the rest of the family, or I just want to have it. It seems morbid to say, like, when you're gone, we want to have these. But I think when people get older, I notice it with myself, like you start coming to terms with like your own mortality and going, okay, like I want to live the rest of my life the best way I can. I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact. I want to have fun and, kind of take charge of the rest of your life. Like the growing up part, the going to school, the getting a job, the responsibilities and the bills and all of that. You start getting older going, okay, like, how many more good years do I have left? I should take advantage of them. And so I can't imagine a family member being upset or offended that you would want to save these stories. And everybody's got a camera now, so there's no excuse not to do it. So take my advice, because you'll wish that you had those stories if you... Bish says, got my mom an iPhone and she's still figuring it out with the selfies. Bish, first of all, you're going to be really happy that you have all those selfies someday. But second of all, get her to make you videos. Come up with a list of questions. And if you can't come up with a list of questions, if you go on like Amazon, there are a ton of books that are just filled with like, what questions do I want my grandparents to answer? Or 1,001 questions for your mom, or 1,001 questions for your dad. And it's literally like, what was your favorite food growing up? Who was your favorite baseball player? What was your favorite class in school? Who was your childhood crush? Like, what did you do when you were younger that you got away with that you never told anybody? Because now is the time to ask all of those questions. So if you can't think of the questions yourself, there are books. And we gave one to my mom to try and get her to write all of the answers down. And by the time we were able to do that, she couldn't write the answers down anymore. So John says, I found a VHS of us with my mom from the early 90s, but I have no VHS player. John, if you go online, there are services that you can send that tape and they will digitize it for you. And it's not that much money. So you can go online, they send you the packaging to package up the tape, and you can do the same thing with photographs. You can send them a big thing of photographs and they will send it back to you digitized, so that if you don't have a VCR, you can get them to make it in a little digital movie that you'll have forever. And then they'll send you the tape back too. Betty says, now that I am old and thinking about my own mortality, I do have FOMO. Betty, if you're still above ground, you still got time to do all of those things that you wanted to do. Dad and I have been estranged and have a complicated relationship, so we'll see. Bish, I get it. You guys know that I was estranged from my dad for over 2 decades. It just, sometimes you just can't work it out. Heidi says, oh my God, some of those questions, you don't want to hear them from my grandparents. They were in the middle of the deed, and I was told my grandfather to ask to my grandmother. Heidi, I'm losing your comment really quick, but like, you do want the answers to those questions though. Look, you wouldn't be here if your grandparents didn't have sex. I know you don't want to think about it, but it's true. It's totally true. Joshua says thrift stores have VCRs for cheap. Awesome suggestion. So there you go. So the Mother's Day sale going on in the store right now through Sunday. Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass holders, we did our live stream last weekend. I am going to be taking you guys. I'm traveling next week, so I am going to be taking you guys with me on a little trip next week. I'll fill you in on more of that. So this is a good time to let you guys know there'll be no War Room next Tuesday because I am going to be traveling next week, and it's going to be a little bit of a crazy week. So no War Room next week. But Backstage Pass holders, I am going to take you with me. If you don't have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you find out who's going to be on the podcast before anybody else. You get travel blog updates when I'm on the road, early access to event information, exclusive concert ticket giveaways. The Spirit Box and Trivium tickets obviously are gone, but you have access to Ghost tickets right now. So if you have a Backstage Pass and you want to go and see Ghost on the Skeletor at the TD Garden, let me know through Patreon. And if you don't have a Backstage Pass, go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie or just click the Patreon button at mistresscarrie.com. Betty says, I've been missing your live streams. Donna says, my parents transferred 8mm film to DVD. Exactly. Shane Caulfield says, still have a DVD VCR combo in my guest room that actually still works. Shane, I do too, because I have too many movies. And let me tell you what, you have one storm where your cable and internet is out for more than a couple hours, you're going to start watching movies on VCRs and on DVDs. Trust me, I've got them. It's a novelty. My bonus son has been up here and we've been teaching him about vinyl and 8-track tapes and cassettes. Keep that stuff if for no other reason than to show it to the little kids that come around because they have their minds blown. You also get merch discount codes, although right now everybody gets the merch discount code. So there you go. Let's see. Carrie, we don't pay for this so that you can take vacations at that time. Keith, I'm sorry, but I have to take time every now and again. It just happens. A reminder of where you can find me on social. Obviously, all the radio station apps. You can find a Mistress Carrie page. The podcast is on all the radio station apps. You can stream the station and listen to the show on the radio station apps. And then all of my socials are linked at mistresscarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie podcast has its own Instagram and threads, and everything is just on the website. So, Oh, one more thing. The Veterans Rock page on Facebook. I think we have made some big strides when it comes to all of the spammers that were on the page. So if you are not on the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook, it's almost 3,000 people now. We do have a veterans event that I'm going to be working with this summer that I'm getting ready to announce. And so the event will be up there as well. But if you're looking for information on veterans resources, veteran-owned businesses, veterans nonprofits, if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, if you're looking to hire veterans, or if you're a veteran that's just looking to find other veterans or to be surrounded by people that support you, the Veterans Rock Group on Facebook, the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group is right there for you. So there you go. All right, guys, I think that's it. So no War Room next week. Take advantage of the Mother's Day sale this week. Brand new episode of the podcast goes live at midnight tonight featuring Cody from Wage War. That's episode 257. And next week's episode is going to be awesome. I can't tell you what it is right now because we haven't recorded it yet and something could always go wrong. But next week's podcast is going to be pretty awesome. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys later. Go Celtics. Fingers crossed. They come back tomorrow night. All right. Good night.